Hello all and welcome to the United Way of Salt Lake Volunteer Orientation Training. My name is Elizabeth and I am the Volunteer Events Assistant and I will walk you through this training. First off, a little bit about the United Way of Salt Lake. For over 100 years, the United Way of Salt Lake has served and strengthened the greater Salt Lake community. Established in 1904 as the Salt Lake Charity Association, its original mission was to help the poor, discouraged, panhandling, and coordinate various programs. A historic community chest with a broad charitable mission has transformed into an agent for social change. Today, United Way of Salt Lake is pursuing lasting social change on some of the toughest challenges that we face, including poverty, disparities in health outcomes, and an educational system that is allowing too many students to fall through the cracks. United Way of Salt Lake and committed partners, volunteers, and generous investors are working to change the world by starting in our local communities that need it most. We focus on building powerful partnerships that achieve lasting social change. Through aligned goals and shared data, we are fighting to make sure every child and every family in our community can be successful. We do all of this through what we call an equity lens. United Way of Salt Lake defines equity as the commitment to understanding and changing biases and power structures to create a more just world for marginalized people and communities. We envision an inclusive community where all people achieve their potential through education, financial stability, and healthy lives. Volunteers like you are an integral part in achieving our vision, and together we can build powerful relationships that achieve lasting social change. The goal of this video is to make you feel comfortable and successful during your volunteer experience, and we hope this video provides you a few tools and tricks to make that happen. While each school has specific policies to follow while volunteering on their campus, we are going to explain a few skills you can use while interacting with students, such as how to use asset-based language, best practices for working with students, and effective teaching and engagement strategies. In the simplest terms, an assets-based approach focuses on strengths. It views diversity in thought, culture, and traits as positive assets. Teachers and students alike are valued for what they bring to the classroom, rather than being characterized by what they need to work on or lack. Imagine being a student who is seen only through the lens of their deficits, as the student who can't sit still in class or disrupt class without outburst. Now, imagine how it would feel to be that same student. Yet instead, you're seen as the child who has more energy than anyone else, and therefore, you can get much more done. Great volunteers and teachers embrace differences in the classroom and make deep connections with their students. We need to see students and have them see themselves as capable learners who can learn and do anything. An assets-based approach is central to achieve equity and to give all students the education they deserve. It helps all volunteers, no matter their race, ethnicity, or background, learn to build practices that are culturally responsive and respectful of students and their communities. What are best practices? Best practices are professional procedures which are accepted as being correct or most effective in a given situation. As you move through your time with the student, you will probably find that using these best practices feels normal and are easy to integrate into your time as a volunteer. You can start by arriving to your scheduled event on time, as this builds trust with the student and shows them that you can count on you, especially if you are a weekly tutor. As you are volunteering and learning about the student, focus on subjects in which they are interested and be flexible and fluid when choosing an activity that fits the child's needs and wants. This is a creative method to empower students to tell their own stories, bring a piece of their life into the activity, and allows you to better relate to the student. If you are reading with or to the student, engage them beyond the pages of the book or activity by asking questions or starting a discussion such as, what do you see on this page? Do you like birds? What color is the dinosaur? Allow the students to do as much as they are able to on their own time. Do not take things out of their hands unless asked, and be willing to demonstrate the correct way to do something, like using a whisk or writing the letter P. You can also add to the conversation by creating or adding challenges to the task that goes a bit beyond what the student can already do. For example, you can lay out a collection of chips, count them together, and then ask a small group of children to tell you how many are left after they see you removing some of the chips. The children count the remaining chips to help come up with the answer. To add a challenge, you could hide the chips after you remove some, and the children will have to use a strategy other than counting the remaining chips to come up with the answer. To reduce challenge, you could simplify the task by guiding the children to touch each chip once as they count the remaining chips. If you are tutoring a middle school or high school student, encourage the student to focus on difficult assignments first and use the opportunity to teach foundational skills if needed. If you are feeling less than competent in a particular subject, such as chemistry or physics, use the opportunity to learn with the student by reviewing readings and textbooks with the student. You can engage with the student by asking them to explain what they have learned and use their in-class notes as a reference tool. A very important aspect of tutoring with students includes using effective teaching and engaging strategies that are developmentally appropriate for their age and ability level. As you spend more time with a student, you will learn about their personality, strengths, and abilities, and then you can use your best judgment to cater to their unique needs. However, there are a few strategies you can use to get started. It is extremely productive to acknowledge what students do or say, and you can let the student know that you have noticed by giving them positive attention, sometimes through comments, sometimes through sitting nearby and observing, such as, "Thanks for your help, John. You found another way to show the number 5. It is also helpful to give specific feedback rather than general comments. "The beanbag didn't get all the way to the hoop, James, so you might try throwing it a little harder." You may also want to provide information, giving students facts, verbal labels, and other information that can help them see a clear picture of what is occurring, such as, "This one that looks like a big mouse with a short tail is called a vole." When you are observing or commenting on the student's progress, it is appropriate to encourage persistence and effort rather than solely praising what the student has done. This can expand the student's comfort zone and often leads to a fun and rewarding learning experience. You can do this by saying, "You're thinking of lots of words to describe the dog in the story. Let's keep going." Giving assistance such as a clue or hint to help students work toward others, showing students rather than just telling them is a fun and effective way to engage them. That didn't work and I need to think about why. I'm sorry, Ben. I missed part of what you said. Please tell me again. These are just a few examples. Thank you for watching this short video. To recap, we've covered a little bit about United Way of Salt Lake, including our commitment to equity, asset-based language, and finally, best practices when working with students. We hope this helps you feel confident on your first day of volunteering. Next, you'll learn more about the specific program in which you will be volunteering and meet the students.